One of my favorite people in the world is my mother. She was the queen of recycling before it was cool. And she also was your typical 50s housewife. So whatever my father did around money was fine with her. You know, I remember him coming home and saying, well, I just bought a new car, it's in the driveway. And she'd go, okay, fine. You know, that's fine with her, as long as she had her money for groceries and took care of things. I knew they managed money somewhat together, but he made a lot of the choices. Well, when I was in high school, I was a sophomore in high school, and this is the story of how I got to be a financial planner. And not a lot of people know this story because I kind of blanked it out for several years. So it's back to my mother, the 50s housewife. And she didn't really take care of a lot of the financial stuff. And when I was 14, my dad had a heart attack. And we were at the hospital, my brother and I and my mother, and my dad was lying on the stretcher, and he was saying, okay, be good to your mother. Like he was sure he was dying any minute, and it brings tears to my eyes now. Be good to your mother, sell the business, go to college. And, you know, he's looking at my brother and I and carrying on, and we were like, okay. Well, fast forward 2 weeks later, he's home, he's healthy, okay? And I'm still 14, and still not all that domestic, but we had dinner as a family, and my brother took off, as he often did, and my father said to my mother, I want you to come into the dining room when you're finished, so that we can go over where everything is financially. And my mother said, okay. And my mother was doing the dishes, so I went up to my mother and said, hey Mom, I'll do the dishes for you, why don't you go in and talk to Dad? She said, no, that's okay. And I said, but really, I'm happy to do the dishes, you go talk to Dad. She said, no problem, I'm gonna do the dishes. I said, well, okay. She said, I'm not going in to talk to Dad. And I kind of went, what? And she said, I'm not going in, I don't want to know where everything is. And I went, oh. And I kind of walked into the dining room, sat down, said, here I am, Dad. And he said, where's your mother? And I said, she's not coming in. He goes, I bet she isn't coming in. You're right. So let's get going. And he sat down and he showed me everything that was in the safe deposit box, everything that was, where all the assets were, what he had, and who took care of the checkbooks and whatever. And I tell you, none of it meant anything to me in a sense of how much was it or what value was it. I was just so like, I needed to know. Someone needed to know. I had just seen this man dying. Someone needed to know. And that was when I became a financial planner. I mean, from that point forward. It was not really discussed in my family. It wasn't like, oh, she knows where everything is. It was just someone had to do it. And thinking of my mother as the 50s housewife, it totally made sense. That mindset was, she didn't want to know. She didn't want her husband to die. And if she knew, he might die. So she blanked it out. So this 50s housewife who didn't want to know anything has a daughter who becomes a financial planner and speaks about it. And my parents sometimes ask for advice, and I'd say, I will only give advice if you're both in the room. And so little by little, my mother was picking up a little bit about investments or a little bit of information here and there about different things. One day I was at work and she called me at work. She never called me at work. Even if I worked for myself, she would never call me at work. She was just, you're working. I'm like, Mom, what's up? She was so excited. It was about 11 o'clock in the morning by the time, you know, we connected. She's like, I was listening to the radio this morning and it was a talk show and it was about IRAs. And I said, really? What was going on? She said, I knew what they were talking about. I said, great, what did they say, Mom? She said, I don't really know now, I forget, but what they were telling me, I knew what they were saying. So it was great to know what and understand what's going on. And I always enjoy that story because it shows, hey, if you can learn at 70 new information, you can certainly learn it at any age about where's your money and where's it going, because it's a total enthusiasm when you make different choices. And that's a 20-year difference in my mother of, you know, making a change, but we can all do it. We can definitely do it.